Land in Love. I want to talk to you about a very important message. Happy Purim to those celebrating. A very interesting article in Haaretz today. At 50-year-old, apparently, according to research, 77% of employers think there is a discrimination of age when accepting people to work. 55 thinks there is a discrimination in being fired. When is an employer old? According to statistics, discrimination against men because of age starts at the age of 50. Women when they're 47. I think much younger actually, because they are seen as a burden. In the world of organized work, there is protection of employers, and it's very hard to fire them. Today it's very easy. A 66-year-old woman, after 20 years, was not wanted anymore at work. After a new CEO said he wants to open a new page and immediately fired elderly employees. They asked her to come in and they said, this is in Hebrew shimua. This is what Netanyahu has. It's like before you're fired, they come. It's called shimua. It's like hearing or whatever. And gave her a letter. And the CEO said, I want to make the company young. He apologized, but later she had a substitute much, much younger. A lawyer called Talmor, whose office is an expert in laws of employing, of work issues, said there's different methods where employers, they want to get rid of older people. They say that an employee is not good. And even ones that people are very happy with, it's very humiliating because the person has to protect themselves against complaints that often are not true. There's no consideration with how difficult it is to find work at an older age, and you need to make a living. So they say the organization needs to get more efficient, and they fire elderly people. And you cannot exaggerate how much emotional damage is caused to people that find they're not no longer wanted. She represents, this lawyer Talmor, an older woman. At 60, she had to go to a lesser job. They lowered her status. Discrimination for age is less known than discrimination based on gender or status family. Oftentimes people don't complain, sadly. Workers that have a health issue as well. A 58-year-old woman who worked in a kindergarten and a community center was fired because she had a problem at work and she had back issues and she couldn't lift kids. And they didn't even try to find her another job. In a way I can understand it because you have to be very physically able to do that. But, in a way I can understand that. But it's sad. It's really sad that if your health is injured, you're like an old horse to the glue factory. 40% think that they should lower the age of pension for men 3 years, and 30% think they have to lower the age for women 1 year. The other side, age expectancy goes up. People live longer. But then they want to save pension money and old age funds. I mean, there is a need to save in pension money. Talmor, the lawyer, said that you shouldn't accept being fired just because of your age. And you have to be more flexible. The practical answer is what they want elderly people to do is to continue to work, but in jobs young people don't want. So I think it's tragic. I think it's absolutely tragic that Donald Trump can be president of the US, the head of the Western world at age 70. But when you're 50 or older, can get a job in a juice bar. Down the road there's a juice bar. They don't hire anybody over 20, over 25. The tourism here, there's nobody over 25. Waiters, they're all kids. They're like 22. Why is that? In Europe, if you go to Europe, like Austria, Germany, there are waiters that are 50 and 60, but not in Israel. Here it's like the Greek celebration of youth. What happens to elderly people? They assume that you make lots of money and are able to retire early. That's an assumption that's not always true. Sometimes people improve with age. Sometimes they become better workers, but they're not given a chance. It's discrimination according to the law, but the law is not applied. The law is not applied. You go look for work when you're 50 and older and you'll see you have zero chance unless you go for work that nobody wants, which is taking care of elderly people or small kids. That's the only jobs. Even taking care of dogs, you get discriminated against. They assume you don't have the energy, which is wrong. They assume you don't have the intelligence, which is wrong. A lot of people with age improve. How come Donald Trump is 70? How come all the politicians, except France or Canada, they're all elderly people? How old is Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu? How old is Gantz? Over 50. All the politicians are older. They're running our country. But the ones who are working are being discriminated against and cannot get jobs. This is something that must be stopped and we must fight for it. The problem is people that have the position to do so don't care to get involved to change society. And it's sad, because we're all going to be older one day. When you think youth lasts, there's two things you can count on. You're going to get older and you're going to get taxes. Peace, light, and love. And here's to being powerful at whatever age, because age is here. If you think you're young, you are young. And if you do yoga, you'll always be young. Namaste.